Hey, welcome to Morning Jams on the Porch. I'm Stephen Leake. It's June 21st, Saturday, 2025. It's a beautiful day. Sun's out, there's puffy clouds everywhere. I'm out on the porch jamming. It's fun as hell. I've got a new thing going on where I've got an internet radio station. Um, I've got the link to it in my website, stephenleake.com. That's STEVENLEAKE.com. And I'm just having to figure everything out as I go. It's kind of complicated with downloading software, doing computer stuff. I'm not really that good with technology and stuff, so bear with me. But I do have some basic stuff on there. I've got to upload a bunch of all my music and podcasts, and it takes a while for that to upload. I do have some stuff on there already being broadcast. You can go there and check it out if you like. I'm having to figure out how I can do live broadcasting, so I can jump on the airwaves and talk about stuff I believe in. And I'm figuring out how to do that as we speak, so I have to bear with me. My videos and music are kind of how I supplement my income with disability. So unless you're like paying for my bills and paying my way, you don't really get a say in what I say or what I don't say. I'll be considerate if you come to me and talk to me like an adult, but if I'm offending you. But it's just something I'm doing for money and for my own conscience. And I'm not meaning to hurt anybody's feelings about it. But anybody, it only takes $20 a month to put music on Spotify and stuff, or another $20 to get a radio station, or another $20 on top of that to get a podcast. And it's really inexpensive, and anybody can do this. And it's really fun and interesting, and people can supplement their incomes if they're good at it. And so, be reasonable with me. You should be reasonable with me. You shouldn't be trying to censor my speech just because you don't agree with it. Okay, one of the fundamental precepts of American culture and our freedoms is that we have the freedom to disagree politically. Okay, you can say whatever you want, and I can say whatever I want, and that's the way it's going to be. You shouldn't be telling other people what to say. That's very un-American. Okay. Our social media companies very much censor speech, especially conservative speech, and anything that criticizes Israel. And that's a blatant violation of this First Amendment, and we're going to have to deal with that at some point. But I've done everything I can about that. I have a brother-in-law, a former brother-in-law, who's a brother of the woman I dated in Charleston. He's a Facebook executive, and I've chewed him out about what Facebook is doing, censoring people about their free speech. It's not cool. But there's only so much one person can do about it, and I've brought it up in my podcast and in my videos, and that's about all I can do is write about it and talk about it. I've studied Middle East conflict obsessively for 20 years. I kind of know what I'm talking about, and you need to be thinking critically about what's in the best interest of our country. And if Congress decides that we need to go to war, I'm perfectly okay with that. But we need to do it the right way and be smart about it and not just jump into shit. Congress needs to decide what happens. That's the way our Constitution is set up. The president can do certain limited stuff on his own, but if we're going to go to all-out war, it needs to be Congress's decision. This is a new song that doesn't have a title yet. that's new. I've been kind of doing a lot of songs off the same kind of chords, but I'm starting to take lessons on guitar so I can do some new, more sophisticated stuff. I'm just kind of basing my current music off of stuff I've picked up over the years. Haven't really gotten into much detail or depth about guitar. I've spent 20 years honing my skill at writing lyrics, and now I'm just since March I've just been getting back on guitar and learning that. So it's going to be the next several years before I get good enough at guitar to match my lyricism. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm starting to take lessons. So keep listening to me, and I'll keep putting out good stuff. I wrote off coffee and cigarettes. They put a man on the moon, and it was good enough for my grandfather, and they're good enough for me. The World War II generation lived to be 90, eating red meat and smoking cigarettes. And so we need to be thinking about, what we're doing today that's different than what our grandparents did and why we're so unhealthy. I've always talked about if you're really worried about it, you start growing your own food and eating organic, and you'll be fine. And probably need to be taking ivermectin as well, but I'm not a doctor. But like Donald Trump did say that these were effective therapeutics at the very beginning of the pandemic, and nobody listened to him, and a bunch of people died because of it. So Donald Trump already talked about these things as being good and effective, and they are effective therapeutical treatments to save people. And I will, as soon as I get some money, I'm going to be taking ivermectin myself. But I have family that are doctors that don't agree with ivermectin being used, but it's my decision, and I can read a peer-reviewed study myself. I don't need a medical degree to read, again, open source peer-reviewed studies that say it's effective. If there's just a lot of evidence that these vaccines are harmful, if anything, and there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that suggests that they're causing cancer and shit. And I don't know if that's because they're so experimental. They're gene therapies, and they're super experimental, and they should. And COVID was never serious enough to warrant what went down. It's almost a crime, if not, it is an outright crime what happened. We need to not be giving anybody or any government any more power until we can figure out what the fuck happened with that, and who dropped the ball with COVID to cause so much death and destruction, and for the media to be so deceitful about it. We have to figure stuff out. We should not be jumping into any new projects, any new wars, any new anything. We figure out what's happening. Being rushed into action is not a good thing. We need to be able to take our time, and the public needs to be properly informed about what's going on. But either way, Iran is not that so much of a problem that Israel couldn't easily defeat them themselves. They do not really even need us, but if we do get involved, it'll just mean we beat them that quicker. And I'm totally down to go fight Iran as a country if Congress approves it. That's my only problem. I just want it to be done right. And it will take critical thinking to do it right. You can't just rely on emotional arguments and religious arguments. You have to take it into consideration a lot of issues and a lot of data points, and do what's good for our country first. I'm not necessarily against Israel. I'm just saying we need to do what's in our best interest first. We've done so much. We spent trillions of dollars already in the Middle East. We need to be careful about spending any more while we have so many domestic issues happening at home that need to be taken care of. We need to be worried about us here in the United States. can't be going around as a policeman of the world taking care of everybody else. You need to be focusing on what's happening here in this country. And that's all I'm going to say about it today. Let's take care of each other first before we go around saving other people. Thanks for hanging out with me today and checking out my music. You should not be so upset about what's going on in the world that it should affect your friendships and family relationships. It's not that big of a deal. I really don't think it's the end of the world or anything like that. I'm sure some people would like you to think it's the end of the world so that you will do whatever they tell you to, but it's like you need to be thinking about it a little bit more critically than that. The Bible has been written for 2,000 years, and in those 2,000 years, people can maneuver politically based off of Scripture to manipulate certain belief systems, and that's a real thing that people need to understand. I have actually read the Talmud, the Kabbalah. There's many books about Kabbalah, and I've read a lot of them. And I've read the Talmud and other things, and it's not Christian at all. Modern Israelis reject Christ. They do not have the same moral compass as Christians. It's not the same thing. This is not to say they can't be good allies in certain ways, but to base your foreign policy off of one piece of Scripture, it's not sound. You have to think about it critically and do what's best for you first. Alright. I made my point. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to put a new page on my website that talks about what I'm doing as far as like podcasting, internet radio, websites, Spotify and my music. So if anybody else wants to put music online or do anything like I'm doing, I'm gonna like make myself available if you want to talk to me or ask me questions about the stuff I've already learned about it. I have a company, Monarch Literary, that handles all of my creative projects. If it's something you're interested in, like I can get you all the information you need, and we'll even help publish you if I'm down with what you're about. I've just built up expertise over certain things over the past, little bit of doing this kind of stuff. I can help you navigate it if you want, but it's up to you. It's a good way for people of limited means to supplement their income, but you're probably not going to immediately be like rich by just having something on the internet. There's a lot of demand for people's attention, and it has to be something really good before people pay attention. So just be aware of that. But having said that, it's a very good opportunity to learn the internet, to learn AI, to have your own business, to be a small business owner doing creative projects as a digital creator. It's legitimate work, and like I said, it's a good way for people who are on disability or otherwise have limited incomes to supplement their lives and their income. And I'm going to have a page on my StephenLeake.com that's going to talk about that for people who want to learn about it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. It's been really fun. And it's going to be a beautiful day, I can already tell. The birds are out everywhere, and it's warming up, and I'm just so happy right now. I got paid recently, and I'm going to be able to buy some equipment for my projects. I'm going to be able to buy a couple guitars, a PA system to go on tour. And I'm talking with one of my friends about being my road guy as we tour around the Carolinas coming up. So I'm going to post my touring schedule as soon as we get it hammered out. And I'm just waiting for the next bit of my money to clear through my bank account. Then I'm going to put some money into upping the production quality of not only this but my other stuff. I'm still learning everything and learning the technology to be able to do live broadcasts and stuff. So just bear with me. I'm learning as I go. It's very fun, and I hope you are enjoying it, not taking it too seriously. It's just meant to be something to think about. This is Wish You Were Here, dedicated to Amanda Isabella. I'm not so good at guitar that it matters that I have $1,000 guitar, but I'm trying to get a Martin just to play and record with, and that's going to be so cool to get to play with something besides a generic guitar. I've had this thing since I was a kid almost, and it's fine, but it's being able to. There's a difference between $100 generic guitar and $1,000 Martin, and it would be just cool it would just amuse me to be able to play a Martin. So I'm gonna try to get one coming up, just because it's a tool of the trade. It's something I take seriously, and I'm gonna be able to get a new guitar, some amps and PA systems and stuff like that, so we can tour. And just keep in touch with my website for more information as it happens. And we're gonna put up a tour schedule here within the next month or two, as I talk about with my road guy, and we start scheduling stuff. But I'm still having to learn my own stuff as I'm writing new stuff. It's really fun, and thanks for hanging out with me and supporting what I do. I super appreciate it. I've only been able to do what I've been able to do this far is because people are like what I do and tell me they keep going. So I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. You're gonna win.